Hey y'all, welcome back to my channel. We are gonna take a cup that I've had sitting around for a long time, and this has obviously been heavily sanded, but this is 12-17-11. If I'm not mistaken, it was renamed, but I think it might be Wedding Day at PDV Creative Studio. I'm not 100% sure, but it is a chunky silver and opal mix that is on this cup. This is a 24-ounce plump from TIPSY Magnolia, and we're going to try to finally do something with this. I don't even remember what. I actually think I started this last year to do a 4th of July cup, and it's been sitting in here that long. So I found a stencil on Etsy, and I will have this listed down below. I've got it cut. It's these little petals, and I have it cut to 8 inches by 9.6. This is a chunky glitter, and I think this is 3 or 4 coats of epoxy. I had some trouble with this one, I remember that at least, and I have heavily sanded this with a rotary handheld sander, so we've probably got that down to a couple of coats of epoxy on there. But anyway, I think what I'm going to do is take off the outline, and we're going to leave the petals. That way the petals will be our silver portion on the cup. A couple things that's coming off with this one. Just pop it back on there. I'm trying to use up some of the things that I started but never got to finish. Got quite a bit of those sitting around from the last crazy year. I really wish I had some stencil vinyl. This is just temporary vinyl from Hobby Lobby. I don't use any of my real good stuff to cut out stencils, but stencil vinyl definitely works better if you have that. Transfer tape. I didn't even cut that the right size. Could have measured, couldn't I? Really. Okay. Oh, Lord. Hot mess. Get it together. So we're gonna go ahead and pre-release this from the back, just so it goes on. Look at how sparkly that is. I've got mica all over everything. We're gonna pre-release this from the back and then put it back on here. It's just gonna help pull this off a little bit easier once we have it in place on our cup. So go ahead and do that, and then trim off a little bit of the back so that once we do have it lined up, we can press a section down and then work our way around the cup. Try to get these lined up. The good thing is there's not that many that line up in the middle, so I can hand place them if we don't get them just right. It won't be that big of a deal. Pull that up enough to, yeah, see, that's not that big of a deal. We'll just pull those apart and line them up. This temporary vinyl is not wanting to stick to this cup because it's so smooth. So sanded. Go back and fix a couple of these. We're not doing an offset to this, so I don't have to worry about being too particular about the placement of these. I just want to make sure that they are stuck down really well to the cup so that our paint won't go underneath them. And then we'll line these up. It's right here on the seam. We'll line those up correctly. used this in one of my last tutorials, and I really like the color, but we did cover it up with glitter, so this time we're not going to. And then we're gonna do these florals to match. These are from Southern Belle Glitter, and I think that's gonna look so very good together. All right, so I'm gonna go over this once more and make sure all of my stencils are pressed down really well. And then I'm gonna give this 2 very light coats of spray paint. I don't want to go too heavy because then it will gloop up around the edge of our stencils. You want to do light coats, build your coat of spray paint up to get the coverage that you need. Okay, we'll be back. On my way out to use this one, I decided to do an ombre between these two. And guys, look at that. That turned out really, really good. It's really, I don't even have words for it. That turned out really good. And I love the way that this come out. It's like a matte finish. It's really pretty. It looks like cement. And I think that was a good choice to make. So we're going to remove all of our stencils. Now when I used the glossy paint, it did take it a while to dry, but the matte dries really fast. Matte paint always dries a lot faster. See what one of these look like. Oh yeah, it's gonna be beautiful. Okay, I'm not gonna keep it on here while I remove every single one of these. It's gonna take a hot minute. So I'm gonna remove all of my stencils and we'll be back. All right. This turned out amazing. I love the 2 colors. So glad I went with an ombre. So I said that we weren't going to add any glitter into our epoxy, but we are. So I received a Happy Mail package from artingwithlove.com. She has set up a discount code for her website. And she sent us some glow powders, which we're not going to, of course, use on this project, but these are like ridiculously bright glow powders. She sent us aqua, green, and blue. But what we're going to use in this is a super shimmer sparkle mica. We're going to add the tiniest little bit of this into our epoxy. Look, it's already floating. Tiny bit. Just enough to get some shimmer. Okay. Just a little bit. And then let's mix this up. Okay. Now, again, it's the Super Shimmer Sparkle Mica from Arting with Love. I can already tell this stuff is going to be so shimmery. Oh yeah. That is amazing. Look. of it. Okay, we're just going to do a thin coat on top of this to get it shined up and ready to add on our UV DTFs from Southern Belle. Now I'm going to pop this on the turner and run through it with a torch. I'm going to allow it to completely dry and we'll be back to add on our decals. Okay, this has one coat of epoxy on it, and I have been super indecisive on what I wanted to put on this because this base matches a lot. So we were originally gonna go with these, which I think will look really good, but we're kind of getting into more fall. And I thought about doing these. These would look really good on here. Or these. Now, these are kind of summery, but they do have some distressing going on. So I do like these. I think that would be really nice. Now all of these are from Southern Belle. And I think this, I don't know. I really do not know what I want to go with. They both match so well. Yeah, I think we're gonna go with these. Just get kind of like a last little bit of summery but distressed. I think the light color would have been great for something around springtime. And I'll try to find something that's fallish, but also has some pretty and bright colors to it to use as our words, our decal. So this, you don't have to trim close to it because this film is just going to come off. The only thing that's going to stick is your actual decal on here. I'm going to try to cover as much area as we can with this one, and then we'll fill in the gaps on the other side with the elements that we have on here. And then of course our decal will be on this front side. Let's turn them off. I really like that that Southern Belle uses the clear now. You can see your background through it. And when you're working with UV DTFs, try not to pull it back to where it pops. These are not quite as forgiving as vinyl, and if you crease it, then it can cause the image to crack, and we don't want it to crack. But you do still want to put these on a glossy surface because they do have the smallest little border around the edge of them. But if your cup is sanded underneath or it's not glossy, it will show that tiny little border unfinished underneath that little spot. I think this was a good choice because this has some holographic in it, and that's really gonna tie into the colors. Oh my goodness, I cut my nails because they looked horrible from being in the garden, and now I can't get this pulled up. There we go. Now do pull these off gently. You don't want to just rip it off. Treat it as if you're putting like a fine detail vinyl image on it, and you don't want to pull it up with your transfer tape. Because if you pull too fast, it can pull the decal off with it, and of course we don't want that. I really like the look of UV DTFs. It's different. It's different than vinyl. It's kind of hard to explain, but it just looks more dimensional, I think, than vinyl does. Or vinyl elements. That was a good choice. Very, very good. Now let's see. I should just be able to put, let's see what this looks like. Yeah, we can pop this right here and then do the rest of it up here at the top. Right. Let me use my vinyl trimmer so I actually get this straight. How did I have that? Right there. Okay. Now you do want to have these pre-trimmed before you put them on your cups, because once you have them on here, you can't remove it. So make sure you trim it out accurately before you pop it down onto your cup, okay? Sorry, I'm not as peppy as I normally am. I know I told y'all that, I think. don't remember if I told y'all. But the reason I've been feeling bad the past couple of tutorials is I found out I've got COVID. And man, has it hit me. I'm feeling pretty rough, but I'm the type of person that I can't just sit around unless I can take a nap. I get so restless, and it just, honestly, it makes me feel worse than I already feel, so. Excuse my heavy breathing and congestion. I'm struggling. Last one. That looks good. That looks really good. Ooh. I gotta turn this a little bit. That is gonna line up nice. Yes. Right here. Okay, there we go. There for a second I was like, did I just cut that completely wrong? I got it. Ah. This actually looks really nice with that vinyl in the background, doesn't it? These florals. This is from Slide Hustle. And I made it, gosh, such a pretty cup with this. So I have a tutorial for that. But these florals look very nice with it. Alrighty. She's a beaut. Okay, so complete change of plans. This cup has been all over the place, and this is how a lot of my designs go. So far we have changed what florals we're using. We used an old cup that was just sitting around that I didn't finish last year. And now I'm not even going for a fall decal. I found one that I just fell in love with. This decal had multicolor letters in the SVG or the PNG. So what I did is break them down in Design Space, and I will show y'all exactly how I do that. That way you can do it as well. And I got all of my TECKWRAPCRAFT chrome vinyl. Look at this. So all of these colors are going to be incorporated in that, as well as this one here in the background. And I will have all of these listed down below in the description for you, because there's so many. I don't know the exact colors of them right now, but I will find that out and put it down for you in the description. So we're going to use all of this amazing TECKWRAPCRAFT chrome vinyl. This is the bubble free. And we have this pretty sheet here. And then we're also going to use the black textured metallic. And this is the white pearl. Okay, I have already cut all of these out into our strips. And this is what we need. So let's head over to Design Space. I'm going to show you how we break it down. We'll add it to our mat and cut these out. I found our image on Creative Fabrica. I went ahead and downloaded that, and I did have it pulled up trying to figure out what color vinyl that I wanted to use since I didn't have the exact colors. Another option for this would have been to use print to cut. Now, if I did a probably 0.035 or 0.045 offset on this and welded those images together or flattened the image, then I probably could have did print to cut with no issues of cutting the enough out at the bottom. But what I wanted to do is cut each individual letter out in a different color vinyl. Once I pulled that over into Design Space, I resized it to 6 inches wide. And the first thing that we're going to do is create our offset. Since we're using black in a bunch of different colors on top of a bunch of different colors, we need something to break that up. So that is where our pearl vinyl is coming in. And for that, it is just a 0.035 offset. I probably could have went up to a 0.045 just to give it a little bit more of a border and stand out a little bit more from the cup, but the 0.035 is really my go-to. Once our offset is done, we're going to separate those images, and then we're going to duplicate the original multiple times because we are going to contour each individual one to pull out all of those letters, and then lastly the border. So we'll click our image, click contour, and then the first thing we'll do is hit hide all contours. It's always going to leave one of them highlighted, so select the one that you want to keep and then deselect the one that it auto highlights. And there you go, you're left with your one letter. We're going to repeat this process until all of our letters are complete and we have the border. Once we have all of our words ready to go, then I'm going to highlight everything, change it to the same color so we can cut them all on the same mat and send them over to cut. I So here is our black a pearl white offset for the top, or I'm sorry, for the bottom. I'm putting it at the top of our mat. And then we've got to figure out how we want our letters. How about you? No, R. I like that. And then all of TECKWRAPCRAFT's chrome vinyl or specialty vinyl that would, you know, kind of get damaged by scratching or fingerprints or anything like that. All of them have a film on top of them. So we're going to pull that protective layer off first and then place these down on our mat. Well, just so y'all can see, this kind of junk happens. Probably 2 foot of vinyl, 5 separate cuts later, and a meltdown that would make a toddler jealous. It finally cut correctly. I have no idea what was going on. Something with my machine wasn't coordinating or communicating with my laptop. The cut depths was not reading correctly, and it just would not cut through this. And it's not my fault or the vinyl's fault. It's something on the machine. I had to go all the way to cardstock depth to get it to cut through this enough, and I still had to finagle it a little bit to get to weed it. So I don't know. My machine's probably going out because it's ancient. But let's finish this with a positive attitude, shall we? Holy moly. Alright, so we are going to try to line this up with the transfer tape because I want to get it lined up correctly on my tumbler. we're going to do is go ahead and put this on the cup, and then we will add on our letters. Now let's place each individual letter on here. since we put this chrome vinyl over top of a textured vinyl, I am going to seal it in before we add on any epoxy, because I don't want our chrome vinyl to lift. So I'm going to go ahead and seal this in with Rust-Oleum matte clear coat, and then we'll come back and add on our epoxy. Another change of plans. Isn't that surprising? So I just got my order in from Adhesive Apothecary, like literally moments after I said I was going to spray paint this. So come in clutch and saving me, and I'm really excited to use their binding potion. So this is basically a sealer. It is, you can use it without gloves. You can apply it with your bare hands, a glove, a paintbrush, whatever you choose to apply it with. So what we're going to do is seal in our vinyl with this time. Just put a puncture in there. I'm excited. So let's seal this baby in. I'm gonna make sure there's no debris on top of, let me do that first. Let's see. I don't want there to be any debris sealed in on my beautiful cup. Okay. And I did wash my hands. I saw so many people use this amazing binding potion, so I have seen that it does work, and it works very well. This is going to keep our vinyl from lifting. Use a very thin coat. You can use this to seal in your glitters, your printable vinyl. And guess what? We don't have to worry about the weather when we're using this, because we don't have to go outside to spray seal anything. I'm just gonna go in with my whole hand because it's just not. There we go. And I'm not like scrubbing this in because I don't want to cause any bubbles. It will show on top of my my chrome vinyl. And then once we have this on, we're just going to allow it to dry. It does say on the bottle to allow 15 to 60 minutes to dry depending on how thick we have applied. And we did do a little bit of a thicker coat on this just so it gets really good around our vinyl. So I'm going to give it about an hour to dry, and then I will come back and add on our epoxy. Of course, I'm using a little extra incorporated epoxy, my favorites, and we'll give this 2 final coats of epoxy. There we go. I'm going to pop this on my turner and run over it with a torch. And then add another coat on it once this one's cured. Holy long tutorial, right? This was almost an hour long, and we didn't even do glitter application. But hey, I think it was worth it because this tumbler turned out beautiful. and I'm so glad that we switched up the vinyl. We switched up our floral choices that we were going to use in the beginning. It just turned out perfect. I hope that y'all have enjoyed this. You've learned something new, saw some new products. If you have any questions, drop them in the comments below for me. I'll answer them as quickly as possible. All materials I've used with some discount codes will be down there for you as well. Don't forget to give this video a thumbs up and subscribe to our channel. It really helps us out. That is all for today. Thank you all so much, and we'll see you next time.